giving your CFA exam and are struggling to study ethics because it's just so boring to read, rather you want someone to just explain you those 7 standards in simple layman language, ऐसा कि आप कभी नहीं भूलो, then you're watching the correct video. Keep watching. Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tanishka and I hope you all are doing good. I'm finally here with the video that I asked a lot of you and a lot of you voted and requested that I put it out. That is the ethics quick revision. Basically what will we do in this video? In this video I will explain all the 7 standards and each substandard in it in simple layman language with simple day-to-day examples in such a way कि आप कभी भी उस standard के मतलब को नहीं भूलोगे. That is my only agenda. Now these standards, all 7 standards and each substandard is extremely important because this will be carried forward in level 1, level 2, level 3 as is. There's gonna be no change for these 7 standards in ethics, level 1, level 2, level 3. All 3 levels can use this video. Also, do not miss the end of the video. The last part of the video, I'm gonna say one very special tip which nobody will tell you about. Actually 2 tips, yeah, I'll give you 2 tips that nobody has spoken about. In fact, it is much contrary to what people say, but I will give those tips in the complete end of the video when I'm done with all 7 standards. And trust me, you do not want to miss them. So make sure that you stay till the complete end. Also, if you haven't yet, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also share it with your friends because I need all your support, guys. Chalo, ab bahut baatein ho gayi. Now I'll not waste any time and jump straight to the topic. Starting with standard number, I've written down my example so that I don't forget. So if I look down, guys, understand that I'm just taking a reference from what I've written. Okay, starting with the first standard, professionalism. Under that, we have 4 substandards, that is knowledge of the law, misconduct, misrepresentation, and independence and objectivity. First things first, do you need to know every standard number, that is 1A, 1B? No, nobody asks you standard numbers. I have never seen a question so far, so I don't think you need to know that. Just understand what each standard and substandard is trying to tell you. So first standard, professionalism. Moving on to the first standard of it, that is knowledge of the law. Members must comply with all, this is what the text says, of course I've written it in my words. Members must comply with all applicable laws, governing bodies, rules and regulations, including, very important line, including the CFA Institute Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. Basic point of knowledge of the law means that you have to follow every law that applies to your company, your office, your state, your city, your region, your country, everything. And you also have to comply with the CFA Institute Code of Ethics. You have to comply with every law that can possibly govern you around. That is what it says. Bas, basic funda is do not break any law. Now let's explain this standard with the help of one example, okay? Your HR policy, take this as a very basic, like I'm giving human day-to-day examples, okay? Your HR policy says, assume that you're an office going person. So your HR policy says that the reporting time in your office is 9:30 a.m. That's what the policy says. But your department, your personal department where you're working, let's assume you work in the portfolio management department. That department starts their work at 10:30 a.m. The manager allows people to walk in by 10:30 a.m. because उससे पहले कोई काम होता ही नहीं है उस department का. Let's assume this. Okay. Now take for example, one day you reach the office at 10 a.m. Okay. Now again repeating, the HR policy says you have to report at 9:30 a.m. Your manager allows you to come at 10:30 a.m. because उससे पहले काम नहीं होता, and you walk in the office at 10 a.m. Will you be punished? Yes, because the standard 1A, that is knowledge of the law, says that you have to follow every possible law and जब भी ऐसा कोई conflict आता है where 2 laws are saying a different thing, in this case the HR policy is saying 9:30 a.m. your department is saying at 10:30 a.m. you will always follow the stricter law. In this case the HR policy is the stricter law, the 9:30 a.m. So अगर आपने वो follow नहीं किया, you come under a violation. Only thing you need to remember in knowledge of the law is that you have to always follow the stricter law in case of conflict. That's literally the only thing you need to keep in mind. Now, if suppose, let's take this example further, if you know that your colleagues are doing it, okay, what will you do? What procedure will you follow? There is a step-by-step procedure given by the CFA Institute and you have to go by these steps only. In case you see someone else violating a law, in case you see your colleague, your friend, your associate, your client, anybody, your employer who's violating the law, so how will you deal with it in such a case, right? First option, this is the first thing you will do, is you will first go to your manager and HR. I'm taking the same example. You will go to your manager and HR and you will complain about them. You will say कि देखो भाई ऐसा हो रहा है. Now, if the manager or HR does nothing about it, suppose they say कि यार छोड़ो हमें नहीं करना, हमें नहीं पढ़ना, what will you do? You will completely disassociate from that colleague, that friend, that activity. आप उसके साथ घूमना फिरना बंद कर दो, आप उसके साथ उन एक्टिविटीज में पार्ट लेना बंद करो. If that colleague is encouraging you, चलना, it's okay, we can come at 10, you disassociate and you say no, I will follow what is correct, I will not do these kind of activities with you, I will not work with you. That is third. Second, and only in a worst case scenario, अगर आप disassociate भी नहीं कर पा रहे हो, manager is not doing anything, nobody is doing anything to rectify the overall environment, only in that case do you have to resign. That's literally it. So moving on to standard 1B, that is independence and objectivity. Starting with the meaning, members and candidates must not offer or accept any benefit, compensation, etc. that could be expected to compromise their own or someone else's independence and objectivity. Basically, literally what this standard independence and objectivity is saying, that अपनी सोच सही रखना, किसी की बातों में मत आना. Don't get influenced by people. That's all this standard is trying to say. Example, very very filmy Bollywood level example, but let's assume that Karan Johar has a movie and he wants to promote it in such a way, he wants that all the influencers, because he knows that currently influencers are the talk of the town, he wants that every influencer gives his movie a positive review and every influencer says that it's a must watch. तो वो क्या करेगा ना, he will hold a very very grand screening wherein he sends a merc for each of these influencers to come, and he gives each of them like a very big expensive 10 lakh worth of hampers. He pampers all these influencers before the release of his film in such a way कि वो lure हो जाए and वो ना in depth में आके they just give him a positive review. That would be a violation if the influencers particularly give his film a positive review because they took all that. That is a violation. If they take all those gifts, that is a violation. You don't have to take only itna expensive gifts, itna expensive pampering if you know that that is being done to influence your decision. Okay, now keep in mind, take the same scenario. If he invites these same influencers for a regular normal screening wherein he keeps just a basic lunch, जो सब रखते ही हैं, basic lunch or dinner, that's okay. Basic rates, basic fees if you're giving to somebody, or you're giving a basic gift to your client, that's absolutely fair, that is allowed. What the standard highlights is, don't take something so unreasonable that it can affect your thoughts, it can affect your independence, it can affect your objectivity, it makes you think otherwise to give a decision on what you thought was right. Bas. Now how will you know what is reasonable and what is not? Keep an eye in the exam. They most cases they mention it, that this is an unreasonable gift that they offered. Then you know that it's a violation. If it is not mentioned, then unless it is something extremely extravagant, you can have a polarizing opinion. But in most cases in the exam, they always mention what is reasonable and what is unreasonable, because again that becomes subjective, right? For somebody 10 lakhs means nothing, for somebody 10 lakhs means a lot. So keep an eye for such words: reasonable, atrociously, exorbitant. Keep an eye, read the question very very well. Moving on to standard 1C, misrepresentation. Members and candidates must not knowingly make any misrepresentation. गलती से भी जान के, don't try to portray something that is not true. That is what the standard is saying. Let's take an example. If your friend, if this is again layman language example, let's assume if your friend says, oh, I got on a dating app and I'm actually talking to this girl or this guy. Fine, your friend told you this much. Now you go and tell a third friend that, hey, you know, he's dating this girl, he's dating this, or she's dating this guy. You said this. Is that a violation? Absolutely. You misrepresented what was said to you. You are differing between an opinion and a fact. What did that guy tell you? I am talking to this girl. That's it. He did not tell you he's dating that girl or they are in a relationship. Why are you taking in information without any research, passing on messages to people based on your opinion? You feel that if they are talking, they are dating. ऐसा नहीं है. Always learn to differentiate between opinions and facts. If you have an opinion, specify this is my opinion, then that's not a violation. But if you say this is this, then that is a violation. Without being 110% sure, you cannot give false claims. What can be a misrepresentation? You giving guarantees that last year I gave a 10% return, so this year also I'll give a 10% return. How can you give that guarantee? You can't. That is your opinion. That is not a fact. So this standard 1C basically differentiates between opinions and facts. Don't mislead anybody. That's it. That's the entire point. Another very good example is YouTube. If you see so many thumbnails where people say, watch this video and you will 110% clear CFA level 1 exam. Misleading people. You can't. You're giving your opinion. You're not giving a fact. The CFA Institute has never given a guarantee, so aap kaise de rahe ho guarantee? That is a violation, and that's all you need to know for standard 1C. Moving on to standard 1D, misconduct. Reading what it means. Members and candidates must not engage in any professional conduct involving dishonesty or do anything that reflects adversely on their professional reputation or integrity. The key point in this standard 1D misconduct is professional activity. They only care about your professional life, not really about your personal life, right? So, for example, if you are a freelancer, assumingly you are a freelancer, but you also work a 9-to-5 job in a corporate. Now, because you want more clients, you enjoy your freelancing job more, what you do is you start cheating your employer by talking directly to the clients and saying, "Aap directly mere paas aa jao," right? That is misconduct. You're being dishonest. You're creating a fraud with your employer. Professionally, you are cheating your employer. That is wrong. If, on the other hand, you are just an introvert and you like to eat alone in office and you don't like to mingle with people, you're not the most friendly person, that's not misconduct. That's your personal life. So this standard clearly states professional activities, things that can affect your professional reputation, not to do with your personal conflicts, personal fights. Keep these keywords, guys. It is these keywords that make a big deal in the exam and remembering what the answer will be, because always remember, ethics mein jo 3 options aate hain, they are always so closely linked that you will always find it hard to find out which one is right, which one is wrong, because all of it will seem right. How to decide which one is right, which one is wrong, this is one way. But again, like I said, watch the last 2 tips that I'm gonna give at the end of all 7 standards. Okay, now moving on to the second standard, completely standard number 2, integrity of capital markets. The first one that we have in that is material and non-material material and non-public information. Members and candidates who have material, non-public information must not act on it or make others act on it till this information is made non-material or publicly available. First things first, what does material information mean? Material information means something very, very important जिसके basis पे आपका decision affect हो सकता है. If it's a general information that does not really impact it, then that's not considered material information. Material information means a secret information that you would want, an information that you would want because that would affect a decision that you would take. That is what material information means. Now, example to understand the standard. You are sitting in a board meeting where you know that the company is making, where you come to know that the company is making a loss. ऐसे through the board meeting, you gauge that this is the situation, that the company seems to be going in losses. Nobody says it explicitly, properly, but you just gauge that, okay, the company is going in a loss. Because you were sitting in that board meeting, you understood this point. Now, if right after that meeting you put your resignation, that is a violation. Because just by the basis of what you heard in that meeting, in the board meeting, you took a decision and you said, "Main ja raha hu." That is a violation, because that information was not yet made publicly available. That information was confidential. It was not something that you had to act upon. Why is it a violation? अब बोलोगे यार वो तो करेगा ना अपने लिए. Why is it a violation? Because the moment you come out of that board meeting and you resign, 10 other employees will know that something is wrong and they will also resign. that is why this entire point is considered to be a violation, because you acted on something that was not publicly available. Now, listen to me very carefully. Let's assume you come out of that board meeting and for the next 1 week, you do a deep research on the company itself. You start reading about it, you go through every financial statement, you talk to auditors, etc., etc. You really get into the depth of it, and then you realize ki haan bhai, the company is really getting into losses and there is no way for it to revive. Keeping everything, you did such a deep research, and then after a few days you decide to resign. Is that a violation? No, it is not a violation. Why? Because you may have used a little bit of material information, but you combined it with your own research, your own analysis, your own thought. You did not just act blindly based on something that you heard in the board meeting. No, you did a proper analysis, a proper research, and that's how you took your decision. This is called the mosaic theory, and this is the only exception when it comes to material and non-public information. So keep this point in mind, because this is something that they really trick people on. They ask it in such a way that it was material information, तो आपको लगेगा oh violation, violation, violation. But the next line will say, but he used his own, after that he used his own analysis and then he came up with the conclusion. That is not a violation. Keep that in mind. So that is material and non-public information. Moving on to standard 2B, market manipulation. Members and candidates must not engage in practices that artificially inflate trading values with the intent to mislead clients. Gonna explain this straight with a layman example. Assume you are a coffee brand. Assume that you are Nescafe. You own Nescafe. Very bad example, but okay, let's assume that you own Nescafe. And you realize that a lot of other coffee brands are making it big in the market. Now people have stopped buying Nescafe. The demand, like you're just seeing that the stock is not going away and people are shifting to other brands. Maybe they're shifting to a Starbucks or they're shifting to a brew coffee or other options. So you want to now tell people that no, you should go back to Nescafe. What do? You yourself buy back all your stock. You go to every shop and you buy all the Nescafe stock so that it shows in the news ki wow, all Nescafe stock has been sold. Suddenly there's a surge in demand, and that news will make people want to think ki wow yaar, itne sare log Nescafe kyun le rahe, matlab sahi hoga, and then they will also go and buy Nescafe. What did you do? You manipulated the market, right? You purposely did an activity that showed that your product is amazing and it made people want to go and buy it. Your intent was wrong. Your activity was done with the intent to mislead people, and that is a violation, and that is all what market manipulation means. Moving on to standard number 3, duties to clients.